Hey, what's up everybody? This is Alfred from Practical Code Academy. In today's project, I'm going to show you how to create a very simple landing page. The landing page that we're going to create it together is going to look like this. As you can see, we have a background image having an overlay. I'm going to show you first how to create this overlay over the image. So to make the image a little bit darker. Also, I'm going to show you how to create a little bit of animation to the icon here. We're going to use keyframes. It's a very simple animation. We're going to use it in this project. And this is pretty much it for today. Okay. Let's get started. Okay guys, I'm going to start by creating a folder for our project. I'm going to call it landing page. I'm going to open it with Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create the HTML file, index.html, the styling sheet file, which is style.css. And now I need my background image. There's a website that I'm using to get free images. You can use it to get any images that you want. It's called Unsplash. Once you go to Unsplash, you can select any image that you can download. Also, you can search for an image. I'm going to search for an image of cars. So I like this image, so I'm going to download it. So if you click on it like this, you can select what size of the image you want to download. In that case, I'm going to select the medium size, which is 1920 pixels by 1280 pixels. I'm going to select the medium, and it's going to download it for you. And then you can, from the downloads, show in folder, I'm going to copy or cut it. I'm going to put it in our project folder. I'm going to close Unsplash. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to open our project folder. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to change the image name to background. Now we have the image and we have the HTML file and the styling sheet. In the HTML file, I'm going to start to create boilerplate. I'm going to call it landing page, my title. Also, I need to link my styling sheet, style.css. Also, I'm going to be using Font Awesome for using icons. So I'm going to put the CDN for it. So I'm going to do link https font. Actually, it's use.fontawesome.com releases. And I'm going to be using Font Awesome version number 5. So it's 5.10.0 all CSS all.css. Okay. Inside my body, I'm going to have a section with a class of container. Inside this section, I'm going to have a header, h1 tag. I'm going to give it a class of title. And I'm going to write in it drive with no limits. However, I need to give the no limits a different color and a different background from drive with. So I'm going to surround it by a span element. So I'm going to do span. And cut it. Paste it over here. Next, I'm going to have a paragraph. I'm going to give it a class of subtitle. I'm going to say subscribe. Now, after my paragraph, I'm going to have my icon. So I'm going to use an I tag. And let's search for the arrow down icon. So you can open your browser, go for fontawesome.com. And in the search icons here, you can type any icon that you're searching for. So I'm going to be searching for arrow down. So you're going to get all the arrow down related icons. And this is the one that I used in the project. So I'm going to stick with this one. You click on it and you click on start using this icon. Copy this, copy the HTML for the I tag. I'm going to replace it here. Also, now I'm going to start adding my form. I don't need the action attribute. Inside my form, it's very simple. I'm going to have an input with a type email and also a button that say submit. Inside my input, I'm going to give it a class of input field. And also I'm going to add a placeholder. And inside my placeholder, I'm going to type in enter your email. For the button, I'm going to give it a class of BTN. Okay, that's it for the markup. It's very simple. It's just the section, the header, the subtitle, and the icon and the form itself. Let's open it with the live server and see how it looks like. This is how it can look like right now. Pretty much ugly. We need to style that. So I'm going to put it on the side. I'm going to go to my styling sheet file, and I'm going to start by resetting all the browser defaults. So I'm going to do margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. For the body, I want to use font family. I'm going to use an Arial font family. And also I'm going to give it a height of 100 VH or viewport height. For the width, I'm going to give it 100% of the width. And also the line height, I'm going to give it 1.4. And if I save this, as you can see, the font changes, also the line height changes. I'm going to give it a background of my image that we downloaded. I'm going to do background.jpg, and I don't want to repeat it, so no repeat. And I want to center it, and I want it to cover the whole area, so /cover. And now here is my car. For the container, or where these elements are, I'm going to give it a max width of 1100 pixel, and I'm going to give margin auto to center it in the screen. Once I save this, as you can see, now it's having this small buffer or the space between the left and the right, and because we restricted the maximum width to be 1100 pixel. Okay. Next, I'm going to give it a padding for the top and bottom 0, for right and left 2 rems. And I also want to display it as flex because I want to center the header and the subtitle and the form. I want all of this stuff to be in the center of my screen. To do so, I need to display flex. And once I displayed flex, I'm going to put it in a flex row. You're going to put all the elements next to each other. However, I need to put it as column, so all the elements on top of each other. So I need to change the flex direction to be column. Once I do that, as you can see now, they are on top of each other. Next, to center it, I'm going to use justify content, center. And now align items, also align items to be centered. Now the question, why they didn't align vertically? even though we have the body having the 100% of the view height, the container, we didn't specify the height of it. We need to set the height of it in order to align it vertically. And I want to do the height to be 100% of its parent element. In that case, the parent element was the body, which is 100% of the view height. That means the container also will be 100% of the 100% of the view height. And once I save that, as you can see now, it's centered in the middle of the screen. That's it for the container. Now let's start with our h1 tag with the class of title. I'm going to give it a color white, so FFF. And now I'm going to give it a font size of 4 rem. So I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger. But right now, as you can see, we cannot read this text because it's white and the background is so light. In order to make this text readable, we can add an overlay to the image or make the image a little bit darker. To do that, you can go back here to the background and you can actually add multiple backgrounds. So this is going to be our first, one of the backgrounds that we're going to use. And the second background is going to be just a linear gradient. And we have to separate them by a comma. And inside the linear gradient, I'm going to use an RGBA color, which is a black color with an opacity of 0.7. And you need a second color for linear gradient. So I'm going to copy the same value of this color and add it over here. As you can see now, the background gets more darker because the opacity is 0.7. If you want it to be have it like less darker, you can decrease this value. For example, you can make it 0.4. You can change it here 0.4 also. And it's going to be more, a little bit lighter. And I'm going to keep it 0.6. Yep, that looks perfect. Now we can go for the span that we have to change the color here. So I'm going to select the H1 with title class, and I'm going to target the span is inside of it. So I'm going to put a space span. That's going to be my selector. I'm going to give it a color of golden rod. And as you can see right now, it's like a golden color. I'm going to do a letter spacing 1 pixel. I'm going to give it a background of an RGBA value. I'm going to use the same RGBA value we used at the top here. And as you can see right now, it's get a little bit highlighted background. I'm going to do a little bit batting. 0.25 rem, top and bottom, and 0.5 rem, left and right. Okay, for our subtitle, I'm going to do B subtitle, or the paragraph with a class subtitle. I'm going to give it a color white, letter spacing, let's say 1 pixel, and I'm going to give it a margin, top and bottom to be 1 rem, and left and right to be 0. Also, I need to increase the font size, so I'm going to do font size 2.5 rem, and the font style, I want to change that to be italic. Now for the icon, I can select the I tag. And for the I tag, I want to increase the icon here. It's too small. So I can increase the size of the icon using font size, which in that case, I'm going to give it also 2.5 rem. I'm going to give it a color white. And also I'm going to give it a margin of top and bottom 2 rem, left and right 0. That's it for the icon. Now I'm going to style the form itself. So I'm going to select the form tag. I'm going to give it a width of 50% of my container. Also going to give it a height of 75 pixels. The background color, I'm going to use a light gray color, which is CCC. And in order to align the input field and the button, I'm going to use display flex. Display flex. And by default, it's stretch. So I'm going to change this behavior using justify content center, and align items also to the center. And now look, it's right in the middle of our form. Next, I'm going to select or target our input field. I can target it using the class that we give it over here, but I want to show you how to target it using the attribute. In that case, it's an input with an attribute type and value email. So I can use the attribute selector. So I'm going to use input. Since you're going to select it with an attribute, you have to surround it with a square bracket. The attribute name is type, and the type is equal to email. I need a width 70%. It needs to be 70% of my form, because this is the width of the form. I'm going to give it a 70% of my form. I'm also going to give it a height of 40 pixels. I'm going to give it a padding of 1 rem. So the padding will be inside here, 1 rem. Also, I don't need this outline, the black outline, so I want to get rid of it. Outline, none. Also the border, none. Want to increase the font size a little bit, so I'm going to do 1.1 rem. A little spacing to be 1 pixel. Then I'm going to add a border radius. Because what I want to do here, add a little bit curvature to the top left here and the bottom left here, not to the right side, just the top left and the bottom left. To do that, I'm going to add it, specify that the top left have a 10 pixel value, and then the top right have a 0 value, bottom right having a 0 value, and then the bottom left will have another 10 pixel value. And as you can see now, this is only affecting the top left and the bottom left. That's it for the input field. Now let's style our button. So I'm going to do btn class. And for the btn, I'm going to do border, none. Outline, none. I'm going to give it a width of 20% of the form. I'm going to give it a height of 40 pixel to be similar to the input field. Also, I'm going to give it a background color of golden rod. I'm going to increase the font a little bit, so it's going to be font size 1.1 rem. And also, I'm going to increase the font weight to be 700 is good. Let's see, yeah, 700 look good. Also, the color to be white. Look good. Now I want to have a little bit change the background color when I hover over this button. So I'm going to do btn with the pseudo class hover. I'm going to change the background color. Still going to using the golden rod. However, I need like a lighter color of the golden rod. So I'm going to get a lighter version. Going to get the hexadecimal value. And let's test it. As you can see now, it's lighter color. And I'm going to add a transition between the two colors when they change. So for the button, I'm going to do transition. For the background property, so going to take place in 0.4 seconds. And now let's see that. As you can see, the transition between the background color is happening very smooth. Okay, next we need to add the animation to this icon here. To do so, I'm going to use the keyframes. For the keyframes, I have to give it a name. You can call it anything you want. In that case, I'm going to call it arrow. So at 0% of the animation, I want to transform and translate Y in the Y-axis, this icon 4 pixels down. So when the animation starts, I want to change, actually I'm going to do it 0 pixels in the beginning. So when the animation starts, or at 0% of my animation, this icon will not going to move on the y-axis at all. Next, I'm going to copy this a couple of times down here. At the 10% of the animation, I want to move it down 4 pixels. And actually, that's 20%. Then at 40%, then at 60%, 80%, up till 100% of my animation. And the 100% you want to get it back at 0 location, as it started here. It started from 0 and it's end to 0. Then at 20%, it go down 4 pixels. At 40%, it will go 8 pixels. At 60, it will still stay at 8 pixels and then bounce back to 4 pixels. And that's it for the animation. You cannot see it right now because we need to assign this animation to the icon. Up to now, we just defined the animation, but we never assign it to the icon. So I'm going to go here to the I tag, and in order to assign it, you're going to use the animation property and put the animation name. In that case, we call it arrow. So I'm going to assign the arrow animation to the icon. And you have to give a duration of this animation. In that case, I'm going to put 1 second. And if I save this, as you can see, it's going to happen for 1 second and it's going to stop after that. I want it to keep going. In order to make it keep going, I'm going to add the keyword infinity. So I'm going to keep going forever. As you can see, it's bouncing up and down. That's it for the large screen design. Now let's check for mobile devices, how it's going to look like. It's definitely going to be look horrible, but we're going to adjust that using media query. So I'm going to inspect it, and I'm going to use iPhone 6, and I'm going to put it on the side here. And now I'm going to start working on my media query. For the media query, I'm going to select my breaking point to be, let's test the breaking point first. So I'm going to put it back as responsive. And I believe it looked nice until 756. So for max width, 750 pixels, I want to use the following media query. I'm going to put it back to the iPhone size. So what I need to change here is going to be my header, my subtitle. So I'm going to select my H1 with the title class, and I'm going to change the font size. And the font size in that case, I'm going to do it, let's check 1 rem. That's pretty much small, so let's do 2 rem. 1.75. Okay, we can actually do 2 rem. Actually, we can do 3 rem. Yes. However, I'm going to do it text align center to center them in the screen. So I'm going to add text align center. Okay, that's look much better. And let me test it for, yeah, so this is 750. And now it get decreased to 3 rem. Now it's going to break here at 556. So an easy fix here, we can switch the span here to be displayed as block. So H1 title, display block, and this is for the span. And as you can see now, it's underneath our drive width text. Okay, that's more responsive. Okay, now let's put it back to the iPhone 6. For my subtitle, I'm going to do P subtitle. I'm going to decrease the font, so the font size Gonna do it 1.5 run. Yep, look nice. And also now I need to work in the form. As you can see, if you remember, the form we give it a 50% the width, but right now we cannot give it 50% anymore because it's a small screen already. So I need to change that. I'm going to select the form, width 98%. For the button, it's very simple. We need to change the font size. Let's say 1 rem. Yeah, also for the input field. So I'm going to do input field. I'm going to change the font size to 1 rem. Now it looks much better. However, there's something that I actually forgot. As you can see, we rounded these corners from the input field, but we didn't round these corners here from the button. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do border radius. So the top left is going to be 0. I don't need to change this side here. Then the top right will going to be 10 pixels. The bottom right will be 10 pixels. And the bottom left will be 0. And that's will fix this. And now it's going to look like the input and the button as like one element. Now let's test it for the iPhone 6 again. They're good. For the submit button, I still don't like the font here. I think because it's the weight. Yeah, let's do font weight, normal. Let's test it in a smaller screen. I need to give it a little bit of padding. So padding, top and bottom 0, left and right, I'm gonna give it 1 rem. Okay, and now as you can see, it's break. The reason it's break because we give it a fixed width, which is a percentage, and we need to increase this percentage right now. So I'm gonna do width to be 30%. The form, actually, let's give it 100%. Don't want to go over 100%. So the form is inside the container, and the container have this padding, and that's the reason we're having this problem. So for the container, if you remember, we added left and right 2 rems padding. At this point, we have a smaller screen. We don't need this 2 rems. I'm just going to add 0.25 rem padding, top and bottom 0, left and right 0.25 rem. Now I can fix the form back here, and instead of 100% to be 80% or 90%. Give it a 95, 98. Okay. For the input field will be width will be 75%, and for the bind will be 25%. I also still think that this here it's a little bit big text, so I'm gonna change it instead of 1 rem, 0.75 rem. Actually can go more. It actually is not having no effect. Let me replace it with input. I'm gonna use the same selector we used up there with the type of text email. 0.75 rems look good. Also the width here, let's give it 70%, and that's look better. And also for the BTN, let's give it a font size of 0.9. Okay, that looks much better. And now let's check in different devices. iPhone 6, and also for Moto G4, for Pixel 2, it looks good. And for the large screens, as you can see, it looks perfect, large screens. That's it, guys, and I hope you liked this small project. And if you like it, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, subscribe now to get our latest videos. Thank you.